can hear you. I can't see you. There you are.
Let me turn this thing up here. I'm real quiet. Let me get this figured out. I
Okay.
haven't worked my way around Zoom yet. Can you hear
Yeah.
me okay?
I can hear you fine, actually.
Oh, killer.
Hey, I love your background. I recognize all three of those.
Yeah, we're in my workshop at my in my home compound, my workshop here. It's a little bit different than the studio workshop, which is all crazy. This is a little bit more refined in my kind of personal space to work on my animations and edit the movies. I try to keep the messy stuff and the movie stuff at the studio. And then I use my laptop to remote in on my big computer at the studio so I could still edit movies here. But this is more kind of like my workshop that I use to just fix my kids' broken toys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
it's like my man cave. So I got my like, my collector's stuff, my kind of like stuff for myself, achievements framed up, looking nice. And you can
Very
see
cool.
the stuff I'm proud of. It goes
Very
right behind
cool.
me, a couple fight posters, and then we got that beautiful River Beauty poster,
Yes.
Cult of Blood, which is man, Cult of Blood is finding its way, brother. It's we sold out of it at the Kansas City Crypticon, and we had strange toys, we had all these brand new things, and people were just like, "Oh, we've heard so much about Cult of Blood." I'm like, you know, it's streaming everywhere." And
Yeah,
they just wanted the blood red DVD. They wanted that physical media. I was really excited and surprised.
that is awesome. That is awesome. And I was going to tell you the purpose of the podcast is to kind of focus on the Kansas City film industry,
Hmm.
the Kansas City area. And you are perfect for that, Robbie Lopez. Um, you're a writer, director, artist, um, tattooer. I
Yeah.
know you used to be a musician and a fighter too, but you might still be some. You still got some of that in you. I know you're still kind of fighting and training. Um,
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm in a fight professionally. Yeah, box at the casino, and I'm gonna take some bare knuckle fights, and I'm gonna make a run. This whole next, I got a decade left in me.
all right.
The kids are
Awesome.
coming into it. I'll be finishing, and I want to do a run at 185 for bare knuckle. So
Wow.
February marked the beginning of my journey. I know this is about movies, but we'll just get
That's
this out of
okay.
the way.
It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, so after, back and the injury and stuff like this, kind of put on some weight, not being active for a long period of time, editing films, getting caught up in all that stress and stuff. And around February, I've been boxing again, hobbyist kind of for the past year and a half, slowly getting in better shape. But since February, after I healed up from my last back injury, um, I've lost 28 pounds and I'm
Wow.
16 pounds now away from fight weight. So by the end of August, I'll be in the best shape of my life.
That's
And I've
incredible.
got the best coaches right now, and I feel so strong and so fast. And it's just crazy. Taking the experience from the decades of getting beat up and beating myself up and all this, and now fighting with such a punch IQ and such a fighting IQ that now I don't get in there head first like I used to, and it's really entertaining to fight like that. And I'm still entertained to fight, but I've gotten really good at if someone's more athletic or younger or more gifted or bigger than me, I really rely on creativity as an artist. I really rely on my experience. I don't chase them around the ring if they're faster and younger than me. I put this pressure on them that people just can't deal with, and I'm finding success later in my career now that I never had before, and it's really exciting.
That's wonderful.
So yeah,
That is
it's crazy.
wonderful.
I feel like every day I'm getting younger and younger, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? I got Benjamin Buttons. Like by the end of the year, I'm gonna be 17 again. I don't know what's going on. I'm not old to begin with, but still, like compared to how I felt the past couple of years, I felt like an 80-year-old man. So it's really exciting, and that's just helping motivate and push me with all the other projects we're doing
Wow.
because I physically feel better, move better, I could think better.
Well, I
Um,
saw the
yeah.
Born to Raise Hell is at Walmart. Is that what I saw? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's pretty exciting. physical copies at Walmart, and physical copies on Amazon delivered to your door. Of course, it's streaming everywhere. Tubi, Amazon, Fawsome TV, all those places for free and stuff like that. But seeing that physical merchandise of it in this day and age, and it's a new thing, like, oh man, for me, that really got me excited.
That's awesome.
Even to
Actually,
think
I'm
one
really
day it's
proud
gonna
of
be in
you.
the
Like,
$5
I
bin.
mean, getting into stores
Yeah.
like that, I mean, that means it's going to be all over. If it's in Walmart, it's going to be
Like
all over.
nowadays, yeah, they don't do that nowadays. Like, and I think because it did so respectfully with streaming that that's when they look at the numbers and they say, well, hey, it's in our best interest to put this out physically too. So that tells me a lot. We're going the right way. So I just signed a deal after refusing a lot of different deals over the past year and a half, being pretty stubborn with it. I just finally signed a deal on Protege Moi. I've released all these other movies since we finished that. I self-released it. Well, I signed an actual commercial deal with it. Um, I finally gave up on being stubborn, and it'll find its way to Walmart too, in those places with the thing. Because I just thought, how cool! I got to do that for Richie. How cool would that be? And he's really stoked. So, same company, Summerhill Films. It'll be released through Wild Eye, probably the raw and extreme category, and Protege Moi will be the next one to get the full treatment and end up in the few box stores that are still selling DVDs, baby.
Yeah. So how did you get started in this? Like what motivated you or what did you do?
So when I was a kid, I loved horror movies. It was a bond me and my mom had, and me and my grandmother, she got me turned on to movies. We'd go rent movies. She'd have the double VCRs. Every movie we'd watch, she'd record a copy, and she had a whole library of ripped movies, VHS. So growing up, as you turn into a teen and stuff like that, me and all the grandkids, we would literally, she had a log. We would come and rent the movies from grandma's house.
Wow.
So we shared that together. My mom was really into scary stuff and horror and like Tales from the Dark Side and Tales from the Crypt and that really dark comedy and monster stuff. And The Exorcist, even an Alien, the first Alien. So she turned me on to all that stuff, thinking, oh, it's gonna give you nightmares and this and that. And it just made me really fascinated with it. And I had an older cousin that would tease me and try to show me scary stuff too. And I wound up really liking it. It made me kind of creative after you get over being scared by it. So I thought my whole life, second grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, when they ask you, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" and they go around the room, I was one of the people who always knew and was super confident, and I wanted to be a special effects makeup artist like Tom Savini. I wanted to make monsters. That's all I wanted to do my whole life. At that point, as a kid, everything. I collected the Fangoria magazines. That was like my stuff. And when I sent some work in and all this stuff, and when I was about 14, I got a letter from the Tom Savini School of Special Effects. And it was like, congratulations, you got a scholarship. We believe in you, all this stuff. We're extending, this opportunity. And I'm like freaking out. And then you get to the whole end of it, and it's only $45,000. And I grew up, spoiler alert, I grew up extremely poor, like extremely poor. There was periods where we didn't even have electricity, and we had an extension cord going from the neighbor's house to run a refrigerator, a TV, and a fan during the summer. We're talking, it was crazy. So I grew up pretty damn poor, pretty white trash. We had a house, but it was in the projects. It was the only house at the end of the whole, what we called the projects was like public housing or whatever, government housing for people who, single mothers and people who don't make money. So anyway, 45 grand to me, I didn't even know what that number was. It was like so fictitiously big that it could have been $1 billion or whatever. So at that moment, my heart fell into my, I don't know if, can we cuss on your podcast?
You do whatever you want,
Kind
Robbie.
of, I got kind of a bad mouth. What?
No, you do whatever you want.
Oh, okay. As I say, so at that moment, as a child and everything, my heart just fell into my fucking ass or into my ball sack or whatever. And I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. And I was always the guy who was confident, the kid that was confident with the answer. And now I was like, wow, I'm fucked. All my dreams are over. You got to be rich to be fucking to be a makeup artist. And so that was a weird reality check for me. And I started playing music, and I always drew and stuff. And I did these little comics, and I found tattooing by accident because a comic book got picked up by this small company in San Francisco when I was 15. I started getting checks for a comic book that you had to be, it was a graphic novel. You had to be 18 to buy it. I was the creator of it and I was 15. I was starting getting checks. I immediately signed myself out of school and started working a side job, got an apartment with two 30-year-old buddies who were losers. Now you think back at it, they lived with a fucking 15-year-old kid that made more money than them. Like silly. uh one of them lived in the front room on the couch. I didn't, all this was just new to me. I was like, this is cool. I'm cool. I got an apartment. But so long story short, they started getting tattooed, and I was the guy who drew comics and had this little publishing, zine and stuff out. And they're like, hey man, draw me up a tattoo design. So I was like, oh, I never thought about tattoo designs. Okay. So I was drawing up my roommate's tattoo designs, and then next thing you know, I'm like, I want to come to the tattoo shop next time you go and check it out. So I started hanging out there with these scary biker fucking steroid like guys that were out of prison and stuff. And they were really good at drawing, but turns out, spoiler alert, they sucked at tattooing. Like you know, technique wise, they didn't know their equipment. But these guys were really talented with being able to draw a picture right there. So I started hanging out all the time and started talking to customers and drawing stuff for them, being helpful, cleaning up. Before you knew it, a year had passed and I was a tattoo artist there. And I immediately left there and started working for the best shop in town and wanted to start over and reapprentice and be like, okay, I want to be good at this shit when I'm their age if I start now. Because those guys are all in their 30s and they're good at drawing, but they clearly don't know how to use their tools. So anyway, that started my mission with that. And I traveled all around internationally, learning and tattooing and working with people that were famous in magazines then, and like getting tattooed by my idols and stuff like that, and just learning so much. And things kind of came back around, and tattooing started giving me the freedom to be able to do other things and things that I always wanted to do. And before too long, I'd always wanted to, not necessarily thought I'd be a director, but I always knew I had stories to tell, man. I make comics. I've always wrote little skits and shit ever since I could remember, and wrote songs and told stories. And so I started the company in 2016. That's the thing. I'm new to this, Kyle. Even though I'm like an old soul and I've experienced all these different things, and have done all this worldly stuff with the movies, people don't even realize I'm like green, if if you will. 2016, I started my company, Crude Comics. It was Crude Comics and Furious Figures, and that's what is now Crude Comics and Cinema. And our ambition was to do comic books that were like basically the movies that we never had the money to make, that we're gonna do these cool rated R kind of adult comic books that are like rated R horror movies because the budget's our imagination. And I thought the clear path from once we get the comics established and going consistently and successfully, then we'll go into animation. And then after animation is gone, we'll do live feature films. And about 3 months into transitioning after getting the comics established for about a year and a half and having stuff and stuff, and I started doing an animation. And about 3 months into it, I realized this costs so much money and takes so long. I could have made a movie, a real movie by now. So I got to do this backwards. I got to put a pin in this animation bug, and I got to get some friends together. I got to write a script to our abilities, to what we have access to that we could do cheap and make sense. And I gotta start experimenting with making some shorts and movies. So about 2018, I started making some shorts, and I made two, and they both won like three, four festival awards and stuff. So I was like, well, that's the push I needed. So then we went and filmed Texas Death Trippin', and it's won a bunch of awards, and it's like a place in stoner pop culture in Thailand. It's really big. One of the guys, Brian, you've worked with him, the kind of hippie guy. They call him Ravioli Jesus and stuff in other countries. Like it really popped over in Asia for some reason with the extreme weird ravioli thing, but it's really low budget, just a friend road trip kind of movie, like the ode to shot on videos from the 90s. It's like a 90s music video, but a horror comedy.
Mhm.
It's not Shakespeare, it's not breaking any new ground, it's pretty low quality, but that's our beginning there. That's what cracked us open. And now it's just been making movies that I want to see and making movies that young Robbie wanted to see, and trying to stay true to that. At the end of the day, no matter what, I get caught up chasing my tail over certain actors or a certain style. Or my trip lately is I've been doing a lot of different films. I try to get a really different feel for each one, and some are really, really, really serious. And like I feel like I have to try extra hard when I promote those and whenever I focus energy on those because I'm known for kind of silly stuff. I'm known for gory stuff. Kind of, stoner dick fart jokes, silly shit like that too, some schlocky stuff, but we're doing a lot of documentaries. We're doing a lot of like real journalism kind of stuff now too and coverage, but the serious thrillers, we've started adding some of those to our deal, like Born to Raise Hell. And it's like we're getting kind of flowers for that. Whereas the just B movie horror stuff, I feel like it gets kind of lumped in the pile. So I like being able to do different films with different emotions in different categories. So my trip lately this past year is how many different kind of films can I not just make, but I've also been presenting other people's films under our banner too, like Donald Farmer. I released some of his films that was Lost Media. Braun Theron, I've got three of his documentaries. One's about primal rap. It has KRS-One and all these big names of California rap in it from the early 2000s era. Like a great piece of history that's kind of just lost. So we're gonna reissue that and put that out physically and to streaming. And he's got two graffiti documentaries that we're backing. Like I said, so we're kind of experimenting with even bringing other people's stuff into commercial distribution. Because although we're signing deals with certain companies, I actually have access to be able to commercially distribute and enter titles into the mix as well.
Very
Um,
cool. Hey, I do
uh,
have a question for you, and
yeah.
I know that you've made most of your stuff here in Kansas City, but I am a Robbie Lopez fan, so I have seen virtually all your movies. And I saw one, The Real Vampires of Chicago, and my curiosity is, because you're interviewing these people, how did you get that level of access to people that I would have thought would have been secretive?
Yeah, that was really a bizarre ordeal. And it was like capturing magic because uh it was kind of like we had our stuff there and was ready when we met them. And I just started filming and going for it. And they were cool about it. And then they invited us to come back in like 4 hours. So it'd be like 3 in the morning then. I'm like, oh, geez. So we go back and then they promised they'd do a full interview and all this stuff if we came back at like 3 a.m. This is at 10 at night when we met them. And we get the quick tour and stuff. And they're like, oh, we'll show you the whole dungeon and you'll meet some of the whatever they're called, the princesses, when they come out of their coffins and shit. I'm like, what the hell we got to get this? So we go back up there and it was weird, man. The stuff we didn't film, like hats off to him. He was a great sport. He sat there and talked to me and all that one on one. That was awesome. But the stuff we didn't film because it was so dark, they had us in this weird meeting room and there's like 12 of them. Like in the video, you just see him, and then I interview some people on the street coming out of bars, walking past this weird castle and van and
Yeah.
stuff. And uh yeah, the people, it was real weird. They had it all set up like what is that? Renaissance, style, but it was dark.
Okay.
They had candles and they had us in this big meeting room with this table and these suits of armor, and they were all just sitting around with their heads down, and he would talk and they would be all like, it was so creepy. Um, I was with like four or five big guys too. Like I had dudes with like that had my back, but it's just weird being in
Yeah,
there and
no, I mean, I thought that was like an interesting work. I mean, like I said, the fact you had that kind of access, and it's
we
not even
tried
a
to go
topic that
back.
I would have any curiosity on, except that you made it. So I wanted to see it, and I watched it, and I thought, wow, there are people out there that exist that are different than me.
Yeah, what a trip. And we tried going back to get a second part. He kept promising he would give us a demonstration of a blood ritual with like the princesses and how they drink the blood and stuff. And I tried 6, 7 different times over that next year, going back, driving back to Chicago, wasting whole trips, trying to get that guy to do the damn blood ritual thing again. He would never meet up with us again. I talked to him still. He still like gaslights me to this day. They got a new castle now, supposedly, and all this stuff. But at one point, I was approached by this alternate gang of vampires in Chicago that were telling me that he's full of shit and they're the real vampires, but they're like, we don't have a castle. We'll have to meet you at Wendy's for the interview. And I was like, you know, as crazy as he was, at least he did have a castle, man. I mean, if
Right,
you want me
right.
to, you're throwing him under the bus. you
Well,
know?
tell me about your features that you've made.
Yeah. All of them or the new ones or what we got cooking
All
or
of them. Tell me a little bit about
okay.
all of them.
Yeah, so our first feature, our freshman attempts, our amateur freshman attempts were pretty much back to back. I got fired out of the cannon and I wanted to fail as quick as I could so we could get better. So if someone ever tells you, hey, you're only, well, time for the interview, you're only a couple fails away from doing a decent movie or figuring this out, it's like, how fast would you want to get through there and fail? But no, so the first was Texas Death Tripping, and it was so much fun, such a learning curve, so difficult. My my dumbass. In retrospect, I could have filmed it all here in town at a fucking park, and it would have looked the same. But I took 20 people on a nationwide road trip, just like I was all inspired by how they filmed Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation. So we rented a big box car and we converted it and put this slab in there for everyone to sit on and be able to film and all this shit. And we really went on a road trip. We shot in like 17 different states. And
Wow.
I had a friend that would put us up overnight, let us film in their house or wherever we'd film in town there in the woods. And each place it was kind of like a little stopping point to eat and to recharge and to shower. Uh, and it all cultivated in Texas and then Arizona and New Mexico and then back to Texas, then back to Arizona and then through Kansas, through Missouri, through the Ozarks, Oklahoma. Like it was ridiculous.
Wow.
We didn't
Wow.
have to
So
do all.
how many days were you gone?
When you look at it, when you watch the video, it could be a fucking park anywhere. It's
Right,
just
right.
outside with trees. I don't know what I was thinking. I could have got stock footage of cross country cars or whatever. No, we filmed about 11 days and we were gone about 2 weeks. But you know what? What a memory. What a trip. I feel like I feel like we all went to school together, me and those kids. That was better than any film school I could have did. Failing at that movie, going through the curves of post-production on that film, figuring out and learning how to edit, learning about sound and all these important things and color correcting and fucking just the whole 9 yards. Um, so then I was like, all right, we learned some, we won an award for it. That was all I needed to be like, hey, you're awesome. Some shitty little word for some little, most spoiler alert, most of the festivals are scams, guys. It's a racket. No one cares. It doesn't get you any kudos. It's just fun and it's fun to celebrate and it's fun to get a little trophy. But really, you're giving them a lot of money. A person who doesn't have money because it goes all into your movies is yet giving another person some money to just be like, hey, you're good. But most of the time it's one of their friends that gets the hey, you're good. The winner's already picked, but they're gonna take 30 people's entry fee otherwise. So that's the majority of festivals. There is some great ones and they're all fun. Don't get me wrong, they're all fun. But I had that kind of fueling my like, all right, we're on the right course. We won some shitty award from some show you never heard of. We're awesome. Let's put it on the poster. Let's ruin the artwork of the poster with a bunch of these fucking laurels that no one cares about. Makes you actually look stupid in retrospect. You learn this the hard way. Other filmmakers, distribution agents, they laugh at that shit. Even though we're proud because we just spent all this time. Like as an
Sure.
artist, you want all the cred that you could get anytime someone could compliment or enjoy your thing, I mean, that's all we want, man. So it's this double-edged sword. But so we did Head Cheese the movie next, starring Richie Ramone. And that was my thing. I was like, we got a little bit of budget for this one to get something special. Let's try to get a pseudo celebrity or some type of cult, figure. And I reached out and Richie had never did movies before. And we did a convention together and we became friends. And I was like, and his manager of all things at the time, he with that kind of one, he was pushing CJ Ramon on me. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about CJ Ramon. Richie, man. Richie is the one. He's always been the good looking one. He's been the talented one. He's my guy. I see him and I think they're Ramones. CJ just looks like a fucking some dude with a beard. He doesn't look like a Ramon or nothing. I'm like, I'm very cosmetic when it comes to parts and things like that. Like if I see it in my head or hear the voice, like I get tunnel vision. I gotta have that guy I'm picturing. But so we did Head Cheese and so ambitious. God, what a cool idea for a movie. The fucking trolls were so neat looking in it. And so ambitious. We didn't raise nearly enough money to try to do a movie like that. It had sound issues. We went through fired four different sound people during filming that movie. One got into a fight with my DP on like the third day. It was wild that movie even got finished and is
Wow.
a shit movie that it is now because that was a experience. I got an ulcer from it, like it was nuts. But it bonded me and Rich. Some of those people in that movie I've never talked to again. I've never put them in another movie. They've never acted again. They've never been in my crew again. That was a weird fucking time making that movie. I just was trying so hard to make it happen to finish it. And it brought me and Richie together permanently forever as brothers in a bond. So that was the good thing about it. So to make up for that and learning all this stuff about post-production and sound and all these great things now, I got this brilliant idea. We go back and we film 30 more minutes of Texas Death Trippin'. I write a little bit more story and we call it the Axe Extended Cut. And we make it a full 90-minute movie and we get a star. And I got Billy Blair. He's in Sin City, Machete, Machete 2, Alita Battle Angel. The guy's a working actor, man. He's got probably 300 fucking movie credits. He's never the guy, but he's always the cool character guy, like the side guy or the side bad guy or the goofy buddy. He's great. He's a great actor. He's so much fun. We had a fucking blast with him. We saved the movie. We then made that and put it out. So it wasn't quite a reboot, wasn't quite a sequel. It was the same movie. We just fucking made it better and added more to it. So that was kind of a cheat. And we filmed that during COVID. Like the day we wrapped on that was the next day was like the first lockdowns they ever did and stuff. So we didn't know it, but when we were in Lake of the Ozarks, we went down there to go ahead and shoot that like week or whatever for the extended cut. We didn't know it at the time, but that was the last time in almost 2 years that when we did a wrap party at this little bar and grill in Lake of the Ozarks, this Mexican restaurant, and ate dinner together. That was the last time for 2 years any of us got to eat outside in public or with friends or anything. So it was like, wow, what a trip. And a couple of my friends are deceased that were in that movie now that were some of my first actors that I love very much. and I still dedicate our films to many of them. Not because of COVID or anything like that, but just ironically.
Yeah.
So anyway, so taking everything we learned from that, it was like, okay, now it's time to show that we know something about production. Now we're gonna do our first real film, quality film, and guess what? It's not gonna be a comedy, it's not gonna be a horror, it's gonna be period piece about a serial killer, it's gonna be deadly serious, it's gonna be, all these things. And we're gonna make people fucking cry and turn it off and things like this. We're gonna go like Mindhunter on it. We're gonna get it taken seriously finally. And what we came up with was Born to Raise Hell, and it's fun. It's actually pretty fun for how dark of a movie it could be. It could have been. It could have been a really negative, hateful movie just because of subject matter. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to show some class, some art. So the coloring in it, the lighting in it's really good. We had the music all handmade, and it really fits that 1966 kind of feel. And we got a really good actor that was so talented. You hate him, but like he's so charming of an actor, you like want to listen to him and you want to like him, but you're seeing him do and say these bad things. So we really, and that was the first movie I sold to a big company. So I was like, okay, this formula works. We're figuring out how to make a real movie now. And that's when things get exciting. So then we did Protege Moi next, which was my version of Masters of the Universe, kind of, but with vampires and boobs and all this fun stuff. It's a steampunk, kind of no rules, medieval, sci-fi, wild original thing. And but yet nostalgic enough to kind of be familiar. And I had no idea what I was biting off on that one because I wanted to experiment with digital creation and this kind of stuff. And I spent way too long in post production learning about all that. But here we have this really unique looking film now, and it really stands out. Uh, would I ever do something like that again? I mean, when it comes time to make a sequel for it, I will. But now I know to not even start until we have certain things, and
Right.
to do a lot of it practically. Like make a lot of sets is going to move quicker than digitalizing them. It's better to do set extension than 360 world building. I don't know why I thought I was so crazy to do that. So after Protege, we did. God, I don't even have my thing to look at my
Cult of Blood,
bot.
I think.
I think after Protege, we did Cult of Blood,
I think so.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we
I
go.
was I
It's
was in the end of Protege Moi, like after you'd filmed it and you had a scene, and then I was in Cult of Blood in a bigger part. And they were just like a few months apart. So
okay. That makes sense. Yeah, and that's the thing. Protege Moi, you could like the story or not, or like that there's naked vampires in it or not, or whatever, but that movie production and that movie, that's a professional film as far as I'm concerned. Like the quality is unmatched. I've yet to see someone with the budget we had and the experience or time or studio we had do something like that. That movie was a lot of TLC, lots and lots of love. But we figured out our problem, it's a great production, whether if you like the story or not or whatever. So when we went into Cult the Blood, I wanted to return to form now that we knew what we were doing somewhat, to at least make a palatable film that sounds and looks and is good. I wanted to return to where we started with a horror comedy and have fun. I dedicated it to Kat, to Daisy Coleman, Catherine Coleman, who was my first, kind of star and had my back with Texas Death Trip, rest in peace. She went way too soon, very young, very beautiful, very awesome person. And so Cult the Blood, because it was out of that same feel and kind of category in my brain as Texas Death Tripping, that was my chance to do it right and to show like, like I said, you could think whatever of the movie. At the end of the day, I fucking know it looks good, it sounds good, we colored it good, and it's a real movie. So yeah, whatever. Chew up people's acting or this and that, but like that's just personal preference. We made a film that is it checks the boxes of a real film, not some B movie bullshit just thrown into a pile, which is fine. I love that stuff. But I personally don't want my films to all just be that. I want to be a complex creator. I want to have the serious shit. I want to have Alfred Hitchcock style films. I want to have David Lynch style films. I want to do sci-fi channel looking weird shit too. Like that's me. Like, sometimes I just want to do a movie about two guys on drugs with AIDS or something. Maybe I do some heavy shit. Like that's how I work. Um, I want to make things interesting, and I don't want to waste people's time. I feel like we all got so much going on, and with the world we live in today, everything's so flashy and snappy and little increments and all this stuff. Like it's a big ask nowadays to have someone sit down that's not a cinema lover and give 90 minutes to pay attention without looking at their phone or texting people or staring at tits on Instagram or food videos on TikTok. I mean, the attention spans are way different with this generation we're going into. So that's such a compliment to me. Anyone that buys or watches our shit nowadays means much more to me than it ever did before. But so yeah, we did Cult of Blood and we got shit figured out. And then we did Strange Toys, super bizarre, wild experimental cult type movie. It's out right now. We're getting ready to put it out. I physically have it. It's going to go to streaming. It'll be everywhere in the next couple months. Big stars are in it too. You're in it. You got a big part in it, a bigger part. And so after that, then we did River Beauty. And what a cool movie. But I'm still editing that thing. Like that's how serious I've been taking it. And now I've been second guessing myself lately and thinking, quit taking it so serious. Just have fun. Get it the fuck out. People are waiting to see it. So we're really close. But yeah, we did River Beauty. And then I did a bunch of shorts, a bunch of stuff for Donald Farmer. In between all these things, I released the Crude Crip Volume 1, 2, and 3. We've got 4 getting ready to hit before
Wow.
October. That's been doing great. Very respectable with numbers with streaming, so that's why I kept making more of them. Um, we're filming Zombie Sluts. It's a strip club zombie outbreak, extreme gore exploitation horror film. Once again, I'm under these different categories. I like it's gonna be like some Terrifier 2 and 3 type stuff. Like it's just gonna be an orgy of practical effects, blood and gore and titties. We're going for the convention horror fans with this one. Like we've got them pegged. Figure we need one that's like that. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but it's gonna be a blast. And everyone's really fun that I have cast for it. And then we've got the old house. So the old house, we started filming this the week that David Lynch passed away, ironically too. And this is probably the most serious and bizarre and thriller type movie I've ever written or did. As you know, you're a big part in it. You're one of the main leads, and it's so much fun because it's like a nightmare and a haunted kind of exorcism house kind of weird thing. It's just so unique. And I'm in the middle of trying to get the trailer cut right now. I'm hoping in the next week I have a trailer out. And I'm just interested in what people are going to think because I'm not even sure what I think about it. And we did the movie.
It's a really unique script, and I don't want to give anything away, but like I haven't seen features done in this format without giving it away. I want to give it away. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, like a cool idea. Just with the character changes, and I don't, like I said, I'm going to give it away if I keep talking, but it's really good,
I
like
feel like
very neat.
it's gonna really drive some people nuts and they might hate it, but then a lot of people are gonna really just be fascinated. It's a movie that you're gonna be able to put on and see what someone thinks. It's gonna always, no matter how many times you see it, it's gonna be like a social movie almost. Like, oh, have you seen that yet? Let's put it on at the movie party and we could all watch it or whatever. Um, but it kind of, I'm still working on it. We're
Well,
filming
I got
more
to tell
and
you, that was one of the most fun experiences with the movie, just because we all spent the night there, and that made a difference. It made it more fun,
staying
more
in that
camaraderie and stuff. Just having everybody there, I really liked it. It was good.
cooking and eating all our meals together, and
Yeah.
that was really fun. And that's why I knew we had to go back to that house. We're not done there. We got to get more footage of the house. There's a little bit more story to tell. And yeah, what a great time. What a positive, one of the most positive times I've had on a film. Um, and such a unique story and film. I can't wait for people to see it. Like I said, it's gonna be polarizing. They're gonna love it or hate it. People are gonna discuss it for a long time, I think. I really feel like with that one, it's going into its own unique thing. It's not just another movie that we're churning out that's going into these pile of low budget movies. It's one that people are like, oh, this one smells different. Like let's give this a
I thought
look.
the acting I saw was really good all around. I mean, it was like really good job. So,
Yeah, you guys really carried it. I was really happy with everyone's performances and editing. It gives me like a fever dream, so it's working. It's making me feel weird editing the movie. I've never felt so creeped out sometimes. I feel like it's haunted. I feel like the movie while I'm editing it's haunted, but I know you guys and I know about it. Oh, it's just saying that my connection's unstable.
oh
I
yeah,
don't
it's
know
kind of
what
getting a
I
little
could do
fuzzy
about
there, but I can still see you. I was going to share something
it.
here. Let's see.
Oh, so other than that, that pretty much takes us to the end of the year. I'm doing a lot of cartoon work, and I got some, super surprise fun con cartoon series and stuff. I'm gonna launch some fun stuff, some for kids, some for adults. Um, that's something that we did this year. Finally, we circled back in January 1. As you know, you've got me some work, but we're actually doing, our own consistent IPs and stuff that are all about to come out, and we're backlogging them and stuff, so that way we have all these episodes. It's just so time consuming and so much fun. Something I've always wanted to do, and it's something that is gonna just take off, and I just want to have plenty of it once it does, or we sign a deal on it or whatever. So we're gonna have a bunch of famous people doing voices and stuff with different things, and it'll be their vehicle for certain things, and it's gonna be fun. We're throwing around the idea of maybe doing a pilot for a Critters animated series to pitch to Warner Brothers. Like there's a lot of stuff happening. I partnered up with a couple people, production partners that are going to help us get some funding going for next year for certain productions to make things smoother. We've got a really cool werewolf one that you know a bit about that we're working on, and we're looking at February, March, maybe uh filming it, and then next fall we're working on this film that's going to take place in a wax museum, and we've got some big names that we're getting signed on to it. We're kind of doing that work right now. The werewolf one, I got Michael Winslow from Police Academy. We're doing the voice guy. We're doing some work together. He hired me for a couple things, and in turn, I'm gonna hire him for a couple things. And we got a kind of relationship that sprouted out of doing a show, together. And he broke bread with me, and I'm like, yeah, I got my gears turning, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna put him in a couple things.
And
So
the
it's getting
show
pretty exciting.
like a Comic-Con type show, is that what you mean?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm at as many of those events as I can. When we're not filming, is generally the only reason why I miss one is if we're filming. I go to Chicago Flashback Weekend religiously. I go out to all the Florida shows religiously. I do most of the Texas shows religiously. I'll do any of the Midwest shows that are available, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, any of them. I do all the Kansas City horror themed convention shows, like Crypticon's a great one, and Crypticon Minneapolis as well. And then there's a Denver and a Seattle. Um, the California shows, we used to do the Creep IE Con in Inland Empire and a couple out there. And it's just like Florida's quite the jaunt because we drive out to all of them packed full of goodies. Um, the California shows and some of these farther ones, I've been a lot more pickier and choosier. Like I said, I try to do as many as I can, but here lately, even with these podcasts now, I've got a interview to do almost every single week for the next like 3 months for someone.
Wow. Wow.
And it's just I can't even keep up with some of it and some of those drives, and you get out there and you just do okay. And if it was only like 7 hours away instead of 30 or something, it wouldn't be that bad. But you get out there, you got to stay, all this stuff. And I basically have moved to priority the places that give me a minimum or want me out there as a guest, not just a vendor that I have to pay my way. Like something, give me something, give me a hotel room, give me a deal on the booth, like something, man. Because you're going to go to the top of the list then. You're not going to be like, do I really want to do this or weigh it out? So I'm
Sure.
getting a lot more pickier and choosier as we are getting more exposure, but it's mainly because I do a lot of stuff and there's only so much of me that could go around. So as my value goes up, I mean, I've got to pick and choose my time. Uh, and just like, so it's like after this year, I'm gonna probably only appear on so many things, a year. I'm only gonna go to so many shows that don't give me a guarantee or honor me as priority, and things like that. And I'm gonna slowly start cycling out like autographs. I'm gonna stop signing materials and things like this unless you purchase like something for me. It's a limited special or something, because that's gonna keep my value and stock going up. If I sign everything for the next 30 years, like I have for the past 30 something years, then who gives a fuck? When I die, it's a $25 autograph. But if I stop, next year signing things like exclusively and only do like a 50 of these one specific thing signed, blah, 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 then all of a sudden my autograph and stuff means something. You know what I mean? And then if I
Yeah.
pass away at any point, it means something a lot. And meanwhile, you can give the kiddos a stack of them. So if they're ever in a bad place, they could pay rent.
Yeah, that's good.
You got to look at the,
I was going to ask you about a couple pictures. What can you tell
yeah,
me about this picture?
it wasn't me. That is that is Blackie. That is a stunt puppet critter that I made for the Critters All You Can Eat movie. And he's cool. He was purchased by this Canadian prop master guy who he was purchased from me, and I gave him a certificate of authenticity and numbered it and gave him a movie still of the puppet in the movie too. And he's got it on like they logged it. It's official now, like a movie memorabilia historical thing for the movie.
That is
And
so
he
cool.
actually hooked me up with a couple other guys that bought some to put in their thingies. So I'm like, that's a huge compliment, other than just a fan or collector wanting basically a toy. He was like, no, I want to, preserve this and have it part of the lore and the history of the movie. I'm like, cool.
That is very cool. And this, of course, this is Born to Raise Hell, and it's the Walmart.
We made
Both
it to Walmart.
pretty
Yes.
cool. And what is this?
Get your shirt on, guy. Gee, that's some homeless guy asking for change or something. He looks angry. I don't know. That's my handsome looking stepdad. His name's no, I'm kidding. That's me. For I think it's an advertisement for a Muay Thai fight that I had a buddy make, and I thought he did a real good job. So I always use that if I could find it when people ask for a photo or something. It
It's
was on a
very,
poster and stuff.
very cool. Get back. Can you see me in my back?
Say what?
Oh, I was just making sure.
I
Oh,
see
all
the
right. There it is.
screensaver and I see you up there. Yeah.
There it is. All
There you
right.
are.
Technology's a pain for me. I'm a 56-year-old man,
Oh,
so
I
it's always
know.
a
So I'm still trying to figure out the Zoom thing myself, and I've used it off and on for a couple years now.
yeah.
You should have seen the Wish Fish. I didn't tell you
Oh
the
yeah.
family movie. Speaking of Zoom, Joe Dante did the Wish Fish with me. It's a fantasy family film for kids and adults and everybody. It's a movie for everybody. Like Tom Hanks, big, like Flight of the Navigator, like Explorers, like Monster Squad, like Goonies, like Gremlins. So we made a movie like that. We captured some magic and fantasticness of the '80s, and Joe Dante did it with me. The Joe
That's awesome.
Dante
That's
that
awesome.
did the
Yeah, that's one my wife will
verbs.
watch. A lot
Yeah,
of your stuff my wife wouldn't watch, but
yeah. Oh,
she would
cool.
watch that. She doesn't really like horror.
Yeah,
She,
magic talking fish. It grants wishes for a little
yeah.
boy. It's great. And it's funny. It's funny. So Joe Dante did that with me. And a funny story is both of us and his wife, bless her heart, she's so sweet. She had to him like we were fucking around. We were fucking around with this Zoom thing, trying to get the audio to work for fucking 30
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
She's pressing some, I'm pressing stuff. They hear, I can't hear them. They can't hear me. I can't, it was, and it's all recorded. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That's the
Um,
way a lot
so
of Zoom
yeah,
calls go. Hey, I was going to ask
like
what
just part of the fun,
hey, what have you learned
right?
about movie making? What have you learned? What's been your biggest lesson?
You know, I stress myself out a lot because there's a lot of things to worry about with these films and getting ready. And you got to remember to have fun. You got to remember to make sure that you're healthy during the whole time and you're not stressing your body out because you're so tunnel vision with the movie. Make sure you're drinking water. Make sure that you eat something every couple hours, even if it's just a grape or something. Like you got to, I get sucked in, and the next thing you know, I'm like falling over. Like, and people are like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I realize, oh, I've been on my feet for 28 hours and I haven't ate or drank anything. Um, and I've been just profusely sweating because we're in a building with all the fans off or whatever. Because I get in the zone, and when we film, I mean, I don't break if it's flowing. And so yeah, definitely treat yourself good because you're the only direct, especially if you're the director, because you're the only person that is going to lead these people. Also, don't have your actors, especially if they're older. I work with a lot of legacy actors, as you know, and older people and stuff, but don't don't burn them out. You could drain someone by having them just lingering around on set hours before they need to film. I like to have little time frames to go off of on my script so we know what time Paul's gonna be there, when at least an estimate, and when he's gonna leave. We know no matter what, 78-year-old Paul is only gonna be here for 2 hours. We're gonna do things to cater to that. Instead of in the past, you got all these things you're worried about. Everyone shows up on set at noon or whatever. Well, Paul, 78-year-old Paul ain't even in the script until 9:30 p.m. Why's he got to be, you're losing these guys. They're melting in
Sure.
the sunlight, man. So take care of your actors. Be um be aware of their time. And you want them to be fresh, happy, in a good mood. And you don't want to just have them on set and around and then be a second thought until you need them because they're going to drain out. Um, Also, like I said, don't stress yourself out too much. Get as much done as you can. And at some points, it's something I have a hard time struggling with. I try to go as elaborate as we can, and maybe the budget wasn't there. Maybe the things wasn't there. Maybe I realistically can't physically make that many things in the time frame we have and test them and all this. I've realized that you got to give yourself a cutoff date that's still a couple days before production. So that way you're not going scatterbrained and insane because there's plenty of things to worry about. Give yourself a cutoff date and you get what you get. You tried your best. Maybe it's not going to be 300 dead bodies. Maybe it's going to be 30. But guess what? Be creative. You're an artist, damn it. Film those 30 bodies 300 times from different angles with different lights and color. I mean, make it work. This is the magic. So I've realized that just like with the fighting, if someone's faster, more athletic, this and that, I have to be more creative. I'm not gonna all of a sudden be at my age a marathon runner. You know what I mean? So same thing with this. Find the ways that make you special and utilize them. This shouldn't stress you out. You should be able to have an answer to the problem that doesn't also just kill your energy. So I've realized that, especially the zombie movie, I'm trying to break all these records and stuff like this with it. And I told my stuff, we're filming September 24th. I said September 8th, whatever you got, that's the last call, Robbie,
Hmm.
on 500 gallons of blood, or if you only come up with 300 gallons of blood, or if you've only got 20 ripped off dicks or whatever. You've got, only 20 severed heads and you want 80. Like, that's great. Keep aspiring, but you know, that's a lot of fucking heads still.
Yeah,
Let's make it
yeah.
work. Like, so because we don't want to start cutting corners with even ourself and our time and our sleep and our health, because we won't be 100% come film day. by overstretching. So I'm trying to do better at that as well because I could do better work if I bring it in a little bit to reality. Like I said with head cheese, cool idea, man. The monsters look cool. All of it was there. We had Richie fucking Ramone, all this stuff, but and the ambition, it was just so ambitious. We needed like $250,000 to really do that movie well, or even 20 grand. We did that movie for like fucking, I don't know, man. It was less than $10,000, and Richie's pay was about half of that. You know what I mean? So it's like a 40-person cast. Like everything was trying to, yeah. So you learn a lot, and you just got to be the man, dude. You got to figure out how to DIY that shit sometimes more than often, but still add that TLC that pulls it off, that makes it look better than the original idea. Because sometimes that it's that Jaws aspect. Sometimes you got to do what they did in Jaws, and that's so they couldn't get that damn shark to work through that whole fucking movie. It was a nightmare, and they filmed what they could, and they did what they could with it, and they used, kind of like that timing and stuff instead, and a great music score, and they did it. They nailed it. So
Hmm.
you sometimes you gotta just be good at critical thinking. You gotta outthink and out creativity the situation.
Now,
Is
you,
in my humble opinion. I know jack shit about shit. I've been doing this for less than a decade. I've been watching films and loving them my whole life.
yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, you were like basically you were a child writing comic books that people were buying. So you were creating with your mind stories and drawing pictures that people actually appreciated and purchased as a child. So
Yeah.
I just wondered, like, did you write books back then, or was it more like comic books? When did you start writing 100 pages of stuff?
Oh wow. I would do these weird short stories as a kid. They weren't 100 pages, but they were several pages front and back. And it was inspired by like Tales from the Crypt and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and those books. I would read those books like crazy. I was Goosebumps and shit came out, but I was already I was playing music and a little bit older by the time that stuff came out. Probably the last year or two that it came out was as I was making my way into more of a young adulthood, I would consider. So all the older ones though was my shit, man. Those scary stories to tell in the dark, stuff like that. So I took a lot of inspiration from it. And then going to Catholic school for so long, I would write these funny stories and songs about the nuns. Oh my God, me and my best friend. And one time, our principal, who was a nun, she fucking found one of them that I wrote about her. We called her Bald Eagle. We called her the Bald Eagle. She had like a balding spot. This old white-haired fucking nun lady that was mean as shit. Sister Mary Catherine. And so mean. She'd make you kneel on the steps outside her office and shit if you're in trouble. Just fuck your knees up on those concrete steps. And anyway, I wrote this like Santa Claus type song, and this is probably fucking fourth grade or something. And she's coming to poop in your pants and all this silly shit. And they find it, they read it to my parents, they call a meeting, read it to my parents, all this shit, and they're like acting all let down, and you're in so much trouble. And we get out in the car in the parking lot to leave. And my dad turns and looks at me and he starts laughing his ass off. And he goes, I'm sorry, we had to act like you're in trouble. That is the silliest shit we've ever heard. Like you're not grounded or anything. He's like, but don't get caught anymore doing that ridiculous stuff. My parents thought it was hilarious, just because they read it. You know what I mean? And they were
Yeah.
trying to hold back laughing the whole time in this adolescent gargle. But somewhere around then, I kind of was doing this creative writing. And then with music, I'd always write the lyrics and songs. I'd always be the band leader, like the guy who would name the band, name the songs, made the stickers, made the shirt designs, like kind of structured the stuff, made sure they had a beginning, middle, and end. We weren't just jamming out aimlessly and wasting our fucking time. Like I was the guy, the visionary that wanted to package it. That was like, okay, this is what it's called. This is what we're doing. This is our mission statement. It's not just four guys fucking jamming on the same riff for 4 hours twice a week. Because most of these guys will do that if no one's directing them, and it just shit like that just drives me nuts. So yeah, so between all that stuff, doing all these little stories and shit, all through school, I would, instead of taking notes, I'd make these little comic strips. And they were like sci-fi, silly stuff. And the one that got picked up that I got whatever paid for, whatever you want to call it, street cred for, it was like a zine. So it had different comic strips in it. So product of its time. In the 80s and 90s, these were very common. They had little comic strips in them. They had fun satire, kind of photocopied articles in them about shit. They had just cool pictures and random shit in them like that. Very DIY, do it yourself. And it's called A Handbasket from Hell. And it was basically a zine, which is kind of like a graphic novel, but kind of like, there'll be a thing on a band you like in there. Maybe you interviewed one of your buddies with this and that, and stuff, and then a bunch of little comic strips and silly shit and weird stuff that wasn't superheroes. It was comics doing adult things or dealing with heavy situations or drugs or weird shit like that that you didn't see in like Superman and Batman and stuff like that. And it was all black and white. It was very more crude than anything. I think that's why mine got kind of ahead of its time is it looked pretty nice for all being hand done. Uh, but yeah, so that was just short story stuff. I think my first longer thing I wrote, I don't even know. I don't even know now because I've got actual published books out too. If you go to Amazon Books, I've got like 6, 7 novels out there. A couple are like bestsellers even. I don't even track none of that stuff. But yeah, one called Bounty. It's a sci-fi opera kind of thing, like Star Wars kind of deal. They're saying that it's like the bestseller on bestsellers list and stuff right now. I'm like, that's news.
Wow.
I didn't even know anyone fucking read the thing. Um, so that's kind of going to be my formula for Protege Moi Chapter 2 is we're going to put it out novel, probably 2 and 3. And we're gonna hang back a while before we actually film a sequel to that, or not even a sequel, but the next part of that. But it's something I'll probably do in the long run, surely one day, especially now that we're getting that out big. We'll see what it could actually do. So yeah.
So what's next for you, Robbie? What's next?
Next is gonna be filming the zombie movie in September.
Zombie movie in September? And do you have other scripts that are written, ready to film?
Yeah, yeah. I have a really cool sword and sorcery one that I can't wait to do. I've got this Western horror Wendigo film in the middle of New Mexico in the late 1800s. Huge blizzard. Everyone gets snowed in. A really cool one. Looking forward to that. So I've got like 4, 5, 6 bigger movie scripts that I've went ahead and put a pin in for like 2028 type of thing. That's like where I'm thinking with it because certain ones I want to make sure we have the proper budget and proper promotion and world building and making the sets and getting the casts are going to be getting bigger and bigger and more elaborate, but I got to ease into that properly. So although those are done and ready, I have to find the right elements with producing teams and stuff like that to do them the right way. There's no rush for me with those when I've got things like this wax museum one or the werewolf one that's more kind of like in our lap and in our world now, what we could
Mhm.
probably do with our funding now. So really, I plan on filming Zombie Sluts in September with all these lovely cast members. It's going to be so righteous. And then October, I'm going to try to go and film We Still Love You, Eddie Deason, the Eddie Deason documentary about his life and coming to Hollywood. I'm going to try to do that in North Carolina in October. And then November, we're going to film the last couple days a little bit more on the old house. And then I'm just gonna chill, do the holidays for the rest of the year, take a little teeny tiny holiday break, and I'm gonna stay busy with the cartoons until winter clears, probably about February, and push out, these movies. I'm gonna be doing all these distribution deals and pushing them out. Like I said, we'll still have convention creeps volume two or whatever will come out within that time still. Like all my in-house stuff is gonna still be coming out, even though I didn't mention that. So we'll still have about 10 releases between now and February that aren't any of the features that I mentioned.
Wow.
Like
Wow. Lots of
Conviction Creek
stuff. And
Volume 2,
I
Crude
have
Creek
a
Volume.
question for you. Kansas City question.
Oh shit.
What's your favorite barbecue?
Woo! Okay. So last year, me and a buddy spent months and months and we reviewed like figure skating rated every single fucking like 53 barbecue joints in Kansas City.
Wow.
And it's so much that I haven't even, I don't even know how I'm going to go about editing it now. I wanted to have it out on YouTube and this and that. I think I might have to make it a feature. I don't even know. So I'm going to break it in, I guess, 30-minute videos, like several of them. I don't know, but so I actually know what I'm talking about here, but it is all kind of personal taste because so many of them do their own special thing that it's just so much fun. But Jack Stack is so consistent and so incredible, and their quality of meat and their consistency of every fucking product, and they never run out of anything. Is just amazing. Hands down, one of the best dining experiences for barbecue you could get. That being said, like, and everyone has different items that ranked higher than the other, the way we did it. So
Hmm.
like you'll see that some places are the better at this. Some have this wild card that they do different than others because you can't go apples for apples with Kansas
Sure.
City barbecue. It's just too. I mean, we did Kansas too, and that's a whole different animal. So we put them all in there. But we went brisket to brisket. We went rib to rib. We went sausage to sausage, burn in to burn in. Um, and I would say my one, two, and three was Jack Stack, Joe's Barbecue, of course, and and, uh, and this place is kind of controversial. Um, this place called the That's why. Like what?
Let's say it
We
again.
thought
Sorry,
we
you
were
cut
done,
out.
and then this place came up on the list. Uh, our number three place, the name escapes me at the moment because we were already done with our list, and I seen this video saying the best barbecue in Kansas City voted the best, and I was like, I've never heard of this place in my life. So we went there, met the guy. The place was dead, and I was like, that's weird. Gave us a complete tour, was so nice. Gave us all this awesome food, and his food was great. But they moved to Overland Park a month after that, and he was telling us about it. He's excited about it. And so we've been meaning to go back out there before this comes out to check it out. God, what is the name of the place? It's a real weird name. I've been in Kansas City my whole life. This is like a newer
Yeah.
place. Um, damn it. Anyway, he got three for me on most of the items. Four was slaps. So basically the top three was, those, and
Yeah.
then you got your
Hey, I would, if I were rating, and I've
uh
been to a lot of barbecue places, not all of them, but I love LC's. I love
mhm.
slaps. I think Jack Stack is fantastic. I love Gate sauce,
Yeah, Gates
but
sauce is so good.
I don't necessarily. But like
Their
the burn and
quality of
sandwich
meat.
is good, but I just wouldn't make them top five. But they're still great.
Yeah. I think they're like number six on our list because they have some great items and the sauce is so good. But where they lack is that quality of meat, where they're getting it from. It's not consistent. Sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's thin. Where you look at a Joe's rib, Joe's is extremely consistent along every category. I feel like the burn-ins. What do you get from LC's? I like LC sauce too. They
Okay.
remind me of Dave.
Normally
LC's
what
and
I
Dave's
get
is almost the
places,
same thing.
I normally get burn ends and beans like whenever I'm doing a taste test. That's what I try to
Yep.
get. LC's, they do ribs, pork ribs, and smoked chicken. And when
Yep.
I fell in love with LC's, I ordered the chicken sandwich. I didn't know they didn't have a barbecue chicken sandwich on the menu. So they usually put two pieces of bread and put your chicken on it. They put a piece of bread, half a chicken, and then another piece of bread.
like a cartoon. That's amazing. Like a
And I was
cartoon.
like, this is a chicken sandwich. They go, well, we don't sell chicken sandwich. I just thought it was hilarious. I ordered a chicken sandwich, so that's what they gave me. And, barbecue chicken, but it was great. It was
That's
great. And
awesome.
I actually fell in love with it right then because it's like so good. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That's probably one of my favorite places though.
Yeah, I like going there for a quick bite. I like their sauce. I like that kind of charcoal flavor. It reminds me of Gates a little bit. Like they do a quick smoke barbecue there. So like they're not fucking around. Sometimes it could be hit or miss for me, but I like it. Like I like all barbecue, you know what I mean? But I've had some burn-ins there that was fucking like chewing on rubber bullets.
Oh, yeah.
When you get them on an off day, you know what I mean? Um,
That's
but I
probably a lot
like
of
it.
places.
Yeah. At Gates, I've had some of the best experiences at Gates, and I've had some of the worst, man. Um, but it's a place that I consistently go to all the time because it's Gates. It ain't the best, but it's part of my nostalgia of growing up. I like Rosedale barbecue a lot. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. That's KCK barbecue. The sauce is different. Everything's different. Their brisket is so thin it just melts. It's not even brisket. I love all that. I love how it's different. Um, but Jack Stack consistently, you could take, especially at the Freight House location specifically. That's the hands down place to eat Jack Stack in the Freight House. Uh, you could take that, and on my videos you can see you could take their burn in, and effortlessly it'll disintegrate like this in your hand. Some of these places, I was bouncing them and shit. I was chewing it. Oh my
So
God, we had the
you're going to make a series or a movie or something on this?
yeah, we're trying to figure out it's got to be episodes, I think, but then how are you going to see all the ratings at once, you know? So I'm trying to figure out the best way. I've just got all this footage.
Choose the top
Um,
ones. There's a guy I know who did something called the Kansas City
I'll
or the
tell you,
Mountains of
Arthur
Kansas City.
Bryant's on our video, Arthur Bryant's, we must have been there on not a good day because that was the worst we had out of all of them.
Wow.
It was, you should see the video. Like it ain't just
Well,
me being biased or whatever. Like we show it and I spent a lot of money on it.
I'm
And I
thinking
was
you
just
call
like so
this
bummed out.
the best barbecue in Kansas City, and then you just
Yeah,
do
I was
your
thinking maybe doing a channel. Like it's so many videos that just make it best barbecue KC or
yeah.
something, and then just break them into 30-minute increments. I think that's going to be the best way for it. It's going to take me a hot minute. I might do that, this fall if I have any free time. If not, then this winter, hopefully I could get onto it because it's so cool. It is a good time.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
I think
very
it's
educational for when people come to our town, like because they could see there, like, oh, that looks good, that don't look good, or I'm interested in that. And I mean, we tried a bunch of weird places that I never heard of. We did the freaky ones. We did the ones that are like a must when in Kansas City. We did brand new ones. We did ones that have been around, like Arthur Bryant since the dawn of time. Like, so I feel like it's a pretty encompassing
pretty thorough.
a list and time and experience, and we're very thorough. So it should be cool. It should be cool. That's something I'm getting into more too is food entertainment. I cook a lot, man. I've got the smoker going right now.
You're a good
Like
cook.
I do a lot with seasonings. I do a lot of different stuff, and people have always enjoyed my food. I
What are
try
you
to
smoking
always,
right now?
huh?
What are you smoking right now?
Well, I was gonna get some brisket, but it's too damn expensive. I didn't
Yeah,
have
it
time to
is.
go shop around after work and trying to rush to this. So I actually improvised. Some ribs were on sale, so I grabbed some slabs, and I'm doing inspired by the delicious, delicious chicken wings, smoked wings from Jack Stack. I'm doing a ton of wings for like the first time on the smoker. Um, Not that it's like I care about the inexperience. It's just I'm usually smoking like better qualities of meat and stuff. But this is gonna be so good and a blast. And I'm
Mm,
gonna film all this content for my new seasoning page, cooking with it.
yeah.
So I've got some turkeys, I've got some chickens, I've got a bunch of little chicken wings, and I've got some slabs. And then, so I'll cook all that. I'll be smoking that all hickory all through the night. I don't use the charcoal, none of that. I use embers, I use wood. I do it all by hand like a pit master. I transfer it from one fire over when the embers are ready and shit. Uh, very old style, with it. And and what I'll do then is I'll cook it all the way up until about noon tomorrow or whatever. Certain things have certain stuff rest and this that. I might throw some cheeses on there too to get some smoked cheese and just I'll throw the kitchen sink in there while I got the fucker going. But about noon I'll switch over and pull everything from there and I'll grill then cheeseburgers and hot dogs and stuff for everyone that's gonna come over family for 4th of July and we're gonna have a big throwdown. I've been on these fasts, so I've been eating less than 400 calories a day or so.
Oh my goodness.
And then burning like as much as possible, like up to 10,000, like doing these
I'm
high
picking up the
intensity
extra calories.
workouts.
I'm picking up
And
the extra calories for you. I'm helping you. I'm eating it for you.
so this is a big deal. I'm really looking forward to getting to eat some of this really good quality meat tomorrow and stuff.
That's good. Well, I'll tell
um,
you what, like I have a smoker as well. I did two little turkeys yesterday and a pork
yeah,
butt.
I see your stuff on there. I love it.
Hey,
I love
the
all of
pork
it.
butt was on sale at Price Chopper. I don't remember what it was, but it was so cheap. Like $3 a pound. I don't know what it was. It was really cheap.
That's usually my go-to. And I went to Walmart. I live right next to a Hy-Vee. Down the street's Price Chopper, but Walmart's between the two. And I thought, well, I need these other items too, and I'm short on time. I'm gonna hope they got a good deal on meat. But every time I go to Price Chopper, I get the best deal on a brisket, the best deal on sometimes the ribs could be whatever, and the other places got them cheaper, but by like a buck or two. It's not that big of a deal. Like a brisket's like $100 if it's not
Oh
on
yeah.
sale. I usually like to find a 45, $50 one. I'm a cheapo. I want a big bang for my buck. Um, or I'll hold off on brisket. But also I noticed Price Chopper, they'll do these crab leg sales. If you pay attention, you'll get crab legs for $8 a pound from there several times a year. The same fuckers that are like $33 a pound just
All of a sudden they switch it up on you.
go
You're kind of cut out now.
on
I
sale a
apologize.
couple different times a year. Sorry.
Oh,
Me and my kids are crab leg fiends, and Price Chopper not only has the good prices on meat from time to time, but they will have crab legs for like $8 a pound. That shit's
wow.
normally $32 a pound or something, several times a year. So I watch the ads for that. Crab
Wow.
legs are my like, oh, if it's my birthday or something, I just want crab legs, man.
Well,
It's the poor kid in me. It's the poor kid. I think no matter
yeah,
what
that's
happens, I'm always gonna look at
crab legs are
food.
rich.
Yes, I mean, I always look at food as this big deal and this big reward because I grew up so fucking hungry and poor all the time.
Hey, so what barbecue sauce do you buy?
Gates spicy,
Gate spicy, and
and
then
then I make my barbecue sauce. But I don't, to be honest, with all the barbecue we do, I don't even ever do a sauce. My
oh really?
barbecue's so fucking juicy and so flavored that, and my kids are weird. They not all of them will eat it if it has a sauce on it.
Okay.
Like sometimes they want it just to be like steak or whatever, tell them it's steak or like the meat. And that makes me like, no, I have to do a good job. I can't do some dry ass fucking barbecue. I've got to do a
Well,
great rub and a great juicy technique, and they love it. So they're my hardest critics. I could
I tell
please
you
them.
what, like the best ribs, you rub them with mustard or something first, and you smoke them. Do the Texas crutch, and then put them
Yeah.
on the grill. And
Yeah.
that's the step that's hard for me because I'm done. I'm sick of it by then, and I will skip it. And then it is like a little mush, like it changes the texture if you don't put them on the grill for
Oh yeah.
another hour.
So
So,
I do this thing with ribs not in the smoker that everybody flipping loves. And actually, some friends from church, my kiddos' godparents, they had another baby. They're Catholic too, so they have like their 15th kid as well or whatever. And I wanted to give them a gift because when Val, got diagnosed with her stuff, like a bunch of people made meals, and it was very helpful for our big ass family while we were juggling hospital visits and work and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's fairly quick, as compared to smoking them all day. So I take a thing of pork ribs, not baby backs, just regular old ratty, fucking tough pork ribs if you don't, treat them. And I cut the sinew off and all that. I do this nice dry rub type deal. And it's about 60% coarse black pepper and about 20% kosher salt, and then a little bit of lemon pepper and a little bit of parsley. Just a real chill rub. I crust the whole thing front and back in that. Okay. I put it in the oven for about 2 hours on 350. And I take it out. I rub butter or olive oil, whatever, all over it. Then I wrap it up in foil. I throw it in for another 2 hours. I flip it around. That's very important too. I flip it upside down. I flip it this way. I do that with my rotisserie chickens too. Gets the bottom that's usually soggy. It gets it crispy, locks in all the juice. You rip it open, water shit pours out of it. It's amazing. That's why they have them on those spindles. But I manually do it in my oven, in my broiler. So these things are now almost 4 hours deep in the oven. Just chill on like 250 or something, a little less than normal, kind of low, and and they're pretty much like cooked. They'd be a little chewy right now, but they're pretty much cooked. So I take them out again the final time, flip them over, and then I leave them open from the foil. I put them in, and I turn on the broiler, and I sizzle up all the fat and get a crust on the front. Then I pull them out, flip them, sizzle up the back, get a crust on them. Then I wrap them all up again. And I pour all the juices and stuff back on them, re-season them, or squeeze some lemon and stuff on if you want, and wrap them up real tight in a bunch of foil. Then I throw them in the oven. I let them sit about another 2 hours on like 200, 150, 200. And then right before I serve them, I just turn the oven off and heat them up. And I make a chimichurri, like a um really herb forward, fresh, herbaceous, tangy chimichurri. And I cut up limes, and they're my Brazilian ribs. They're a dry rub rib, very simple. The pork flavor comes out, that little bit of zest comes out, the heavy pepper, the salt. It's very minimum, so you taste the meat really good. The chimichurri does all the heavy lifting. You throw that on top, uh, and it just does a magical thing. It does this like savory, kind of tangy, salty, all these herbs, and you squeeze your lemon on or your lime on it. And man, everyone really seems to love that. And it's
That
pretty
sounds
pretty
freaking
easy. You can
wonderful.
forget
It
about it.
sounds wonderful. You are like,
And they've been so tender. They've been
yeah,
so tender
you are
for
more
oven
Kansas
ribs,
City than the Kansas City mayor. You are the most Kansas about smoking
Yeah.
meats.
And that's me trying to get out of the Kansas City style.
No, no, no. It's still though. It's
Uh
meat, ribs related.
I'm
Um,
always torn when I'm doing them because I like doing them wet Kansas City style ribs with the sauce that I make
yeah.
and I'll make up a root beer or Dr. Pepper sauce or something. But like I said, the kids don't like it, so I'll just do like one slab or some chicken like that. And I love that, how it caramelizes and shit. But I also kind of crave the Texas style heavy, heavy coarse pepper crusted, just salt and pepper, dry rub
They do
ribs
coffee
too.
grounds sometimes down there.
Ooh, that could be good.
Coffee grounds. I went to a place in Nacogdoches, Texas. Oh, I'm getting a warning about my Zoom meeting video being over, like it's going to shut us off.
Oh,
But Nacogdoches,
that's how you
they
know
they
we're
do
having a good
brisket.
time.
Yeah, they do brisket. They rub it in coffee grounds. And I went to a place in Nacogdoches. That's what they do. And like the grounds are dissolved, so they don't taste
Right.
like no chunky but it gives it a really rich flavor.
I've had a ribeye that had some type of coffee rub on it like that, and it was pretty interesting. It wasn't not good, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
So I'd imagine that would work good on the
Oh
ribs.
yeah, it was good. Hey, before we run out of time, any final words?
You're enough. You could do it if you believe in yourself. Keep trying, and sometimes failing is what you need to do to get there. So to get to the other side of what's great and what's special and what makes you who you are and have a place in this world, sometimes you have to swim through a river of depression and sadness to get to the actual fun part of life. So things change so fast. And it's so easy to get sad and not believe in yourself or have people doubt you. Just remember that what's going on today is not what's going on next week or next month. And you can do it, man. All you have to do is keep doing it. So that's all.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, thank you and enjoy your like see, I would never start smoking this late because then all night long you got to mess with it.
I know.
But I mean I
I
get it
know it.
because then it's
I
ready
have
at
no
noon.
choice.
Yeah, it's ready at noon then.
Yeah, I
Where
have
if you
no.
started it at
Yeah,
6
I should have
a.m., it
started
wouldn't
a
be
couple
ready
days ago.
till 6 p.m.
But thankfully, there's not a brisket, which wouldn't be ready by noon because I'd still be fucking with it.
Oh yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
ready for
I,
dinner tomorrow.
I mean, I smoked a brisket one time and it was just too much freaking work, just too much work, too long,
Yeah.
hours and hours. And in the end, it wasn't as good as other brisket I've had.
Because they don't tell you there's a whole fucking technique. It's the whole thing. I could do a whole video on it. I didn't know either until like my third fucking brisket that you're supposed to do all this other shit to it because everyone's got their own little secret trick. And I was like, you motherfuckers got tricks? I didn't know. I thought you
Yeah,
just smoked it forever. Yeah, I'm like, why is it still tough? I didn't
yeah.
know. I thought you just leave it on there forever. And I made basically fucking beef jerky with a couple $100 briskets. And
Oh my goodness, that's painful.
now I got it. Woo, I got it to where that shit's like butter now. I'll bring you some. I'll get you some once we
All
do the
right,
next brisket. I'm
sounds
gonna
good.
work into jerky next. I'm gonna start doing jerky too. So
Well, sounds good. Well, hey, good luck to you, Robbie, and I will see you around.
sounds good. We'll see you on set soon.
Okay, see
Think
ya.
we've got you due in any day now. No, in a month or so.
Sorry I'm late.
Later, brother.